Call to order. Ask for a roll call.
Blunier.
Here.
Leach.
Here.
Lehman.
Here.
Mennel.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
Parrott.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I ask you to join us in Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are no public hearings tonight, but we do have a special presentation. So I'll ask, this is in honor of Roger Spangler, who's been with the village for several years here. And I'll ask our elder statesman, Trustee Newhouse, which was Roger's boss for several years. I think they worked a long time together, to come up and have a few words, and we're going to have a toast to Roger.
Wow. I guess I better bring my doctor.
Yes, it has to be. Dr. Pepper's the choice of the drink tonight.
Probably Roger's one character flaw. Dr. Pepper. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Trustees and citizens of Morton. I'm here this evening in honor of my good friend and former colleague, Roger Spangler, who is retiring for many years of service with the village of Morton. We joined forces first when I was on the Plan Commission, worked on a number of projects together, and found that not only did we have a good professional working relationship, but a good personal working relationship. And with a number of committee activities, we handled a few things for the good of the village of Morton, I think. One example was the recommendation for the trustees on the entry of Walmart, which we had worked on for a number of years. Then I was elected to the village board, and we served 2 terms in which Roger and I worked closely together while I had planning and zoning responsibilities. And I was also at the same time one of the village representatives to the Economic Development Council. And we got Roger involved with the Economic Development Council, and he demonstrated a substantial talent for working with both existing business owners and managers and new entrants into Morton, and particularly effective where there were issues related to zoning or other ordinance requirements where some work needed to be done, where we wouldn't give up our standards, but needed to find constructive ways maybe for the business owners to come to some accommodation. And maybe the best example of that is the Holiday Inn Express. And due to Roger's good offices and work on the part of several other people, we came up with a plan for the restaurant and the motel to use a common setback, supported the developers in that petition to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and now we have a very nice tax revenue producing motel on a spot that at one time was ugly and is now pretty attractive. So that was another one of our little achievements together, and part of Roger's continued demonstration of this talent for working with people. And we took advantage of that. We added to the zoning officer's title the planning title, and there was one other characteristic that made Roger unique, I think, or makes Roger unique, and that is his diplomatic ability as an enforcement officer. And over the years, he had to go knock on a fair few doors, and for the most part, people were happy to comply, and Roger demonstrated amazing diplomacy and skill in helping people come to the conclusion that they needed to be in compliance. The 1 or 2 cases where they didn't quite get the message, they discovered that under the diplomacy was the man of steel. And those situations were equally well resolved. So as Roger leaves, we go into a new chapter, and he will take with him a huge body of experience and success with the village of Morton. And Roger, we're all going to miss you. It was a great privilege to work with you and to have both your professional friendship and our personal friendship. And I offer you my deep congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
So wish you well. Mr. Mayor? Oh, well then, in honor of Roger Spangler and his impending retirement, we're all going to toast with our Dr. Pepper this evening.
Thank you.
welcome.
Appreciate that. Okay, Raj, time to come up here. We got a award for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
I got it.
That's about one of the last times.
Yeah, it's kind of a family thing. He has to call me Your Honor, so that might be the theme of this. But anyhow, about 30 years ago, I bought a car from him. When I left the lot, he goes, I gotcha. But tonight, it's taken me 30 years, but I gotcha.
You did too.
So last year, you know, they kept showing up at his office. He has a parking space. And every week, there was a set of antlers hanging on the parking spot. And this went on for 8 or 9 weeks. And I'd go into his office. He goes, Jeff, I've called all my friends. I can't figure out who's dropping these antlers off. Went to lunch one day, and he was telling me all about it. He never asked if I had anything to do with it. So didn't have to lie my way out of, which I was prepared to finagle a little bit if I had to. So in your honor, we had these antlers hanging on his parking spot.
Oh, for crying out loud.
And finally, about the 5th or 6th time, Roger put a thank you note up because he couldn't find out who was hanging them. And it says, thanks for the future knife handles, Roger. And I signed it for you, Roger, the Honorable Mayor Jeff
Oh
Kaufman.
my, that makes it more special. Thank you.
I knew it would. This is what he makes with them. I had to slide this in so the police chief didn't, you know, see it before the meeting. But I have number 3 of his. But we do have something you might be interested in.
Okay.
So, you know, me and Brad, I've had Brad help me for a year now. We don't give out these plaques anymore to hang on the wall. We've been given Crystal Awards and for everything. And so far, none of them are like. But yours, there'll never be another one like yours.
Oh my, Brad, what'd you do to me?
So, what we have here is a
man.
Dr. Pepper.
That is awesome.
I thought it was too.
It is. That's pretty cool.
28 years service, Dr. Pepper established in 1885, which is the oldest soft drink, which he owns 1 share. And on the back is presented to Roger Spangler, Planning and Zoning Officer, in recognition of your service and service to the citizens of Morton, May 7th, 1991 to 9/30/2019. Best wishes from the village of Morton, and then you'll like the next line. And your honor, Mayor Jeff Kaufman.
That just makes it more special.
Yeah. You know, that way when you look at it, you know, it was tough calling his brother your honor for the last couple of years. So,
But I did it.
but you did it.
Yeah, you got to
It even
take
ha-
one for the team.
Yeah. It even has
The flip
Oh,
top.
here, I'm going to let you hold it.
Wow. Oh, that thing's kind of stout. Like
I think
me.
it's 3 pounds.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can have the mic now.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You don't relinquish that very easy.
Not usually.
Well, I'm not going to be real lengthy. What can I say? You know, I've really been blessed because you guys supported me. I've had good people to work with and for, and it's pretty important because I know when I go knock on that door, they're not all going to be happy, and I know if they would call one of you, that you would have my back, and that means a lot. And I feel good about where I'm leaving. You know, we have 2 good people that are going to be here. Brad and Kip are awesome. We've got good personalities, and I think they're going to do a great job. But Morton's been real good to me, and I can't thank him enough for giving. I was a nothing from Mackinac when I came here. No offense, Pat, but they didn't owe me anything, and they gave me a shot. So here I am, and it's been great. I've loved every minute of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Roger.
Thanks. Oh yeah, I won't forget it.
And you don't want to forget the picture.
Oh no.
It's ready to frame
It's good.
or hang, I should
Thank you
say.
much. Thank you for coming. Family, friends, neighbor.
Any public comments? If none, we have a consent agenda. Tonight, the consent agenda is approval of the minutes, the regular meeting September 3rd, 2019, and the approval of the bills. If we could have a motion.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I guess is that all right? Okay. Village president, I just have the one item. I'm going to let the council go over that.
That would be Resolution 21-20, a resolution authorizing the execution of a second amendment to lease with Lab Properties LLC Series 2 and Samuel R. Parrott as trustee under the Samuel R. Parrott Land Trust.
So this would extend the lease to January 31st, 2023.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments? If not, call the roll.
Leach,
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
Mennel,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrott,
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Motion passes.
That's all I have. Please, Chief.
I have nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Corporation Counsel,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Director and Fire of Emergencies, Service,
Tonight, Your Honor.
Director of Public Works.
Several items tonight, Your Honor. First in front of you is item A. I'd like to ask for acceptance of bid for North Morton Avenue Interconnect and Signal Improvements in the amount of $90,454.47 and award of contract for same to Laser Electric Incorporated.
Do you want to do the second one at the same time? Can we?
I mean, I can if you're good, Pat. I mean, if,
That's fine.
I mean, don't necessarily, I mean, you gotta approve
Let's-
this one to get the next
But
one.
approve-
We
you
don't
wanna approve
necessarily
the
have to
first one?
approve the next one. Let's just do them separate.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions?
Just real quick, this, basically the 7 intersections on North Morton from Jackson to Highland. I won't name them all, but basically, this is to work to interconnect them all, fiber optics, radio. So should be a better ride down North Morton eventually. I know there's been several concerns throughout, especially from people in Hyde Park and Thornridge in that area, but this should improve that. It will be nice too. This will be integrated in the IDOT central system through their system and including in their timing plan. So we will be able to work with IDOT and our consultant to change timings remotely, which will be a nice feature there too. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions. But it came in significantly under our budget. I don't know that that's that big a deal. I've found out I'm not very good with electrical and traffic signal estimating, but at least this was on the low end of that.
So what specifically is this going to do? Is it going to time the lights so people can get through easier?
They'll basically all work together. So a lot of the complaints now is I hit a red, then green, then red. I mean, you're still going to hit reds, but hopefully when you hit a lot of the green, especially during the peak hours, AM and PM, they'll synchronize or be synchronized to work together. So hopefully if you at the right speed, you're going to get green, green, green. This will take a little time, but like I said, we'll be able to change things. Even the shopping season, it'll be a lot cleaner than even necessarily hiring a contractor out there to do things. We will be able to maybe make some changes remotely for other unique times of the year too. So
when you say we, do you mean us or do you mean IDOT?
us, obviously with IDOTs, but they'll work with us. They always have. So it'll be a lot easier and a little more cost friendly to make those changes. So it'll improve the level of service, meaning it'll be a lot better ride down North Morton. So which with that is been a big thing. I know I've talked to some of you trustees on access control. That's a big thing. I know there's been fights over driveways and those things, but on roads like Cortland, North Morton, this becomes even more important to control the access so that those signals work, if that makes sense.
I have a question with regards to that.
Yeah.
So, in the perfect world, this will synchronize everything, and so will this be the standard going forward in terms of, let's say, Jackson, because it's going to get another stoplight at the main street, and then potentially more. So, will this be the standard that you build into it, or is this an addition down the road when you feel it's necessary? Because Detroit, I think, could use that as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, anytime you can, sync the signals together, but it's with fiber optics, so I think with these as closely spaced as they are, this one makes sense. The further out they are, this is probably a little less necessary, in my opinion, with the level of traffic, even on Detroit. But yeah, I mean, this North Morton carries probably the most traffic in Morton as far as ADT.
So it's an add-on, not necessarily something you do.
It's something we've talked about for several years. Yeah, I don't know that you do it everywhere.
Okay.
I think, the amount of traffic plus proximity or distance in between signals is when it becomes very important.
So what did they use then to track the traffic? Is there something in the roadway, or is it cameras?
As far as when they did the counts to do it?
No,
Or-
when you do the timing now, will it still be traffic activated somehow?
Yes.
And
yes.
what do we use to know when traffic's there? Is it a wire in the road?
We've
or
got
is
a
it camera?
combination. I mean, obviously, there's detector loops at a lot of them. I think there's a couple cameras in there, but a majority are detector loops in the pavement.
Okay.
So those are all work with that, if that makes sense.
Okay.
We are adding some of the flashing yellow arrows at the same time, more for consistency. That was a big push by IDOT several years. I think they're a good thing. So those will be added at this time also with this contract.
Any other questions?
Greg, do we share responsibility for maintenance of these lights with IDOT, the ones that are at their have
Yes.
legs like at the interstate?
Yes. So Ashland, I believe, is 50-50. Bond is 50-50. The one on the overpass, the two on the overpass would be all IDOT, and then Jackson would be all IDOT. Highland and Cortland would be all Morton.
Right.
So yes,
So there's
and
no
electricity.
there's no cost share from IDOT in this improvement.
No, there's no cost share here other than, I mean, we're able to take advantage of some of the improvements they made with the recent 74 work. They made a lot of improvements. So while there's not a financial one on this one, I think there's a significant savings due to some of the infrastructure they put in, and for us being able to tie into their master signal there around the Ashland area. So maybe not financial on this one, but I think they've put some significant improvements to make this feasible for us. And then afterwards too, to be able to work with us, that's a really good thing.
If there's no other questions, we'll call the roll.
Lehman.
Yes.
Mennel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Parrot.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next is item B. I'd like to ask for acceptance of change order number 1 for the North Morton Avenue interconnect and signal improvements to replace the traffic signal battery backup units at the Ashland Street and Highland Street intersections in the amount of $13,030.00 to Laser Electric Incorporated.
We have a motion.
So moved.
So this is basically, I'm asking for approval of change order. We can always do this later, but I think now's the time. We kind of held off because we were concerned about budget. So this would add, obviously, battery backups at the Ashland and Highland intersection, which we've got a majority of ours already have battery backup.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Mennel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Parrot.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next is item C. I'd like to announce the 2019 Fall Yard Waste Disposal Program. And this is going to start Saturday, October 26th, and it will end Sunday, December 8th. The hours will be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It will be closed Thursday and Friday of Thanksgiving. So we'll bring it up at the next board meeting, and we'll start getting information out there on the TV and on the website. Next would be item D. I'd like to also announce the semi-annual hydrant flushing program. This will again be a 3-week program. We'll work from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and we'll start Monday, September 30th.
That it?
That's all I got.
Village clerk.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Village administrator.
I have one item tonight, Your Honor. I have ordinance number 20-16, which is an ordinance making amendments regarding volunteer firefighter pension to Section 15 of Chapter 1 of Title 5 of the Morton Municipal Code.
I'd move to approve. Second.
Would you want to explain that a little bit?
Basically, what has occurred when tax season last year, we had reached out to Dave Mills CPA for some advice on how to prepare a 1099. And in speaking with them, we basically found out that our pension plan that we have for the firefighters is not a IRS qualified plan. In order to do that, we would have to have the plan revised. We would have to have an oversight company manage the plan for us, which would be rather expensive. So we decided that rather than do that, we would increase the amount that is paid slightly to the retirees, and then it would be taxed to them as miscellaneous income, like additional compensation, rather than a retirement. It should only affect them, probably the majority of them, on their state tax, because as you know, pensions are not taxable for the state. So we decided that we would try to increase the amount they're paid. These gentlemen and women volunteer basically their services to the village as firefighters. If they provide enough service, 5 years, and at the age of 60, they can get currently $5 per year of service. So if they serve as a firefighter for 20 years, they're looking at $100 a month. This would change that $100 to $120. I looked at today, the total cost to the village would be $6,198 for the current retirees that we have, and that's significantly less than what it would cost us to have a managed pension plan. So we thought this was the best fair to them, so that we increase it a little bit so that they don't out of pocket lose money, because they'll be paying a little bit of tax on their retirement, but it would also save the village money rather than having a qualified plan under the IRS rules.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Not, call the roll.
Newman.
Yes.
Parrot.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes.
And our planning and zoning officer, Roger.
One item tonight, Your Honor, but before I say that, I should have mentioned that beyond working with you folks, the people that I work with daily, that some of them are here, pretty awesome. We have good people, so you should all feel good about that. So, and they didn't pay me to say that.
Thank you, Roger.
The one item that I do have is the annexation of approximately 2 acres, and it's right off of Hurstein Road along the driveway to the cemetery entrance for the Park District that will be used for parking. Brad, it'd be across the road from where you grew up, so this has gone through the Plan Commission, and the recommendation was to approve this annexation, and that's the recommendation that I bring you tonight.
Okay. Could we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any other questions?
We had talked about spoke with Joel on the development fees on this, and the village proposed to them, and we'll have Pat draw up an agreement for the board to vote on, but proposed to, in lieu of the rental fees here, to swap the rental fees here for the annexation cost, the development cost for the property, which equates to approximately $8,000. So we would swap the rental fees for the Freedom Hall for our meetings and the Planning Commission meetings for the development fees is what's been proposed, and I'll ask Pat to write up the agreement, and
Okay.
we can vote on that.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? Call the roll.
Parrot.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
Mennel. Yes. Newman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Any of the village trustees have anything tonight?
I do.
Okay.
I've known Roger since 1982, and in his previous employment, and then with the city. and you'll have a hard time finding somebody with more honesty and integrity than Roger brings to the table. And it's his mannerisms and the way he handles tough situations, his sense of humor, and everything. He just pulls people in. So he'll be missed a lot. On the other hand, I've also known Brad since 1997, and Kip, I know of you and your family, and I know there'll be great replacements. They won't be Roger. Maybe there'll be something even better. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I don't doubt it.
But the only question I have, you made the comment "Man of Steel." I don't see it. I think, but maybe you are. Maybe stainless steel. I don't know. No, you'll be missed, Roger. I had the opportunity and privilege to work with you for a short time, but what a great guy. You really deserve retirement, long health, and enjoy yourself.
Thanks, sir.
If nothing else, if I could have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.